But I think it's quite expository, though it's what we have known with time over time that the government is actually borrowing beyond normalcy. But when government continue to borrow and you caution them, they will say it is debt to GDP they are looking at. They're not looking at debt to revenue. But this has come glaring, and I'm happy that it's a dint of research from a budget to bring it out. Now that it so clearly the level of our deficit, the level of our debt, and the challenges it's facing, sadly, it's even eroding the capital project that we're supposed to benefit from. Because if you look at it now, is way, way higher. Our debt service is way, way higher compared to what we are using for debt. What we are using to really service our capital project. And if you look at it, even the gap between debt to revenue is quite humongous. You also recall the issue of ways and means and a lot of it. So I think government needs to rescind the habit of going about borrowing for everything they need.
Okay, now speaking on cutting down on this borrowing cost, what advice do you have for the government? What do you think they should do to cut down? What are practical ways they can, cut down on the borrowing culture in Nigeria?
Right. Basically, I think it's clear now that we are spending more on debt servicing, and we are not getting much more revenue. The best is for government to review their spending and the cost in terms of borrowing, because it's normal to have deficit budgets. But if you are borrowing, what are you borrowing for? Now we are borrowing to debt, so it's better. And also, government is having more revenue now. Because if you look at percentage removal, it has bring more revenue to government. So there's no need for them to go borrowing. You recall the issue of debt service, the issue of ways and means, how it led us and 26 trillion and how it was extended in terms of payment back to CBN, which is abuse of full responsibility. So I think we need to do more by reducing
And now let's talk about non-oil revenues in the country. Do you think Nigeria as a country is maximizing its other sources of revenue apart from oil? And what do you think can be done to help improve these other sources?
Right. With the major sources of government revenue, you start much more of the taxation, which is a fiscal policy side, which is much more of FRS. But if you look at them from what they are just submitted to Mr. President, that is receiving attention in National Assembly about a review of the tax policy, the old tax policy. If that is implemented, I think it will help because it will expand the tax net without increasing the tax people are paying. Because if you look at maybe live streaming, I'm not sure if federal government is getting anything from that. If you look at other areas too, that they can really get much more money. But getting more money, if we are not careful, it will still go down the debt servicing. I think we need to look at it and reduce the level at which you are borrowing. Not only federal government, even at state level.
Okay, so what do you think as a country, what advice do you have for the federal government to help with, improving our income as a country? We're talking about income generation and different sectors to help improve our income as a country. What advice do you have for the federal government?
Right. I think this government is generating more revenue already, because if you look at this Tinubu government, floating of naira has make more government to have more money. First of all, move have make more government to have more money. Also, income from customs, has also give government more revenue. The only thing is that we need to prioritize the way we spend the money. We have to spend money on what will generate more money for us. Because if you look at the capital expenditure, is about 4.4 trillion, which is quite patchy sum. You are doing almost a budget of 30 trillion or 26 trillion, and you are struggling to have capital budget. I think we need to do more to make sure that we spend more on infrastructure, school, hospital, and those things that will bring benefits to Nigerians.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Elias, for your time. It was really great having you on Business Daily.
Thank you for having me.